everyone. This is Pam Reese with Adventures in Aging, and I'm here with my friend
Gary Vandenberg. Great. It's great to be back, Pam. What are we talking about today? Or how do we usually start these programs, right? Thanking our friends and
our listeners, for sure. And gosh, please continue to subscribe, share our podcast with others. Gary and I appreciate it every single time you do it.
Great. And thank you to our sponsor, StrideLite, StrideLite.net. And what StrideLite does is provides quality diabetic shoes, custom inserts, foot orthotics, all lower extremity products. It's a great company. They've been around for more than 20 years. And thank you for being our sponsor of these podcasts. So what is today's topic, Pam?
So everyone knows about stereotypical quotes about aging, right? About getting older.
Oh, yeah. I think we can all relate to some of them, can't we? That's the funny thing, right?
So today, you and I are going to discuss different quotes that are stereotypical about aging, even knowing that different cultures view aging differently.
Oh, yeah. You think about on the movies, you'd see these tribes, and they go to the elder. And
the elder is the smartest one.
And then you see, I think it was Talladega Nights, where Chip was the grandfather, and they're throwing Chip's medals over the bridge or something, and
right.
You know how different cultures pertain to these things.
Yeah, and then sometimes getting older is viewed as senility, is viewed as out of touch.
Yeah, see, I embrace it. I guess I must be lucky. One day I won't be able to get out of bed as easily as I do these days. But
you'll find laughter in it, probably.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I do. The older relatives I have, the best times are when they're laughing at what they can't do anymore.
Oh, my gosh. My mom did. My mom would laugh at her own self every day over something silly, and it was contagious laughter.
Isn't that something? I remember my mother-in-law, we were driving down to Florida, I think, and it's late at night, and the question was, what do you think of my driving? Well, she had these tremors in her hand, and her hand's shaking. Well, what do you think I'm thinking of your driving? It was so funny. It wasn't connected at all.
So you laughed out loud.
Oh, we all laughed.
Yeah. So we're going to have a little bit of fun today with these quotes.
Okay.
Some of them can touch us all in a really relative meaning, and some are just funny, and some are just no way. So I'm just going to throw a couple out there, and let's begin. So here's a quote. Don't you think now is the time to be adventurous while we're still young?
Absolutely. And that can apply to any age, right?
Right.
I don't know why people wait till I'm going to wait and go travel when I can't walk anymore.
Yeah, I can't wait until retirement because I'm going to go travel around the world. But what if you have a bad knee?
Oh, yeah. I think that there's a large percentage. I'd love to, we'll look into this at some point for a future podcast. I think that probably a third of people that retire, it's because of health. I think something is causing them not to want to get up and go.
And how many people do you know of that retired in a way that kept them from being active?
I don't know. Explain that further.
Well, every once in a while, someone has wonderful ideas about retirement. And then once they retire and they don't have that motivation every day to get up, go to work, and follow through that routine is gone.
Oh, yeah. When are you going to go on your trip?
Yeah. When are you going? When are you going to start living? But having said that, to all of our listeners that are enjoying great retirement and great aging, keep being adventuresome, because many, many, many are.
Isn't that something? So I know we're kind of jumping into different categories. A big one that comes to mind is that whole attitude, and how, when you stop and think about it, it's not how old you are, it's how you are old. If that makes
100%.
sense. And again, I say this in other podcasts. I know people in their 20s that are older than me mentally. How's that sound?
Yes. So, and I know we've talked about this. You feel a certain way, right? So, for instance, I feel like I can still do every single thing I did when I was 30.
Is that something?
Yeah, I do. I feel exactly the same way. And in many ways, I feel better, because you gain a little more confidence as you get older, because you tend to be able to laugh more at yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't care what others think as much as you did when you were 30.
Right. I agree with that. Okay. And when I was thinking about this too, here's another good quote. And it was saying, this is actually a Mark Twain one. I love this. Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. right?
I love it.
Isn't it? Mark Twain, what a great guy.
Yeah.
As far as different
said something really good.
I wrote it down
Yes.
on a piece of paper to bring it up at our podcast. Yeah, there's some other good ones here. Pam, do you see one that jumps out to you?
I do. So here's one. You don't stop laughing when you grow old. You grow old when you stop laughing.
Isn't that true? And so, do you find that sometimes humor is like universal, isn't it?
So I got to tell you a story. My roommate and I in college, we had this crazy activity that if we were bored, if we were down, and then think about, your downness when you're 18 years old. Today that's not so important as it was when you were 18.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Different.
Somebody didn't call you that was supposed to call you.
It's the end of the world. Yes.
Right. But having said that, her and I came up with this activity that let's just start laughing.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yes.
Over nothing.
Oh.
But once you start laughing, the other person laughs, and now you are laughing hysterically till you're crying because it's so ridiculousness. But you can't help it.
You can't help it. One thing I've always noticed, the person laughing hardest, if you ever look at a group in a restaurant or in a mall or shopping, the person laughing the hardest is the one talking. Isn't that the funniest thing?
Always.
It's always the person talking.
Is that because the others just don't get that sense of humor? Are they not funny?
I think it's just in their mind. They think it's hilarious.
Yes.
Whatever they're saying, whether it makes sense or not.
But I love that. I give in to contagious laughing.
And I know another thing with laughter was Charles Schulz, right? Wasn't that?
Yeah.
Is that Charlie Brown? Is that who Charles Schulz is?
So you're asking me.
I'm assuming he is. Right?
I think it is.
And one quote he had was, if I were given the opportunity to present a gift to the next generation, it would be the ability for each individual to learn to laugh at himself.
How true.
Isn't that true?
Don't take yourself so serious.
See, I have like nervous laughter. I laugh inappropriately.
Oh, I always
fall into
laugh
one of those
inappropriately.
People are yelling at me and chewing me out about it, and I'm the guy laughing my head off.
Oh,
right?
no, I can laugh inappropriately at a funeral.
And I have friends that, help them do something. I'm messing it all up, and I'm laughing my head off inappropriate. And they're like, well, why are you laughing? You've just messed up my car.
And God forbid that I'm in a group where somebody falls or now they didn't hurt themselves. I wouldn't laugh if someone hurt themselves. But they trip walking into the room. Yeah. You better believe I'm the one in that room not being able to control my laughter.
Just laughter. It just strikes you as
it's funny.
It's funny. And so when it comes to our quotes here, we have got little what do you call them? Little stories here. And one of them is about you're a senior citizen if, right?
Go ahead.
And here's
tell
a couple, and I can relate to all these. You're a senior citizen if you are the life of the party, even when it lasts till 8 p.m.
Right.
Oh, there's a lot of friends I have that, hey, sun's starting to go down. Let's roll this thing up. Yeah, let's roll this thing up. Or I'm, very good at opening child-proof caps with a hammer.
I can't open child-proof caps. Can you?
Not really. I'm awake many hours before my body allows me to get up.
Oh, so true. How often do we wake up at like 4 a.m. and you fall back to sleep and now it's 4:20? You fall back to sleep and now it's 5:10?
And I know I'm a senior citizen. I've got some friends and relatives like this now. If I'm smiling all the time because I can't hear a word you're saying.
Oh, we all do that.
Well, especially if you've got hearing issues.
Or did you ever like smile and affirm to a question that there is no way you should be affirming?
Yeah, just inappropriately.
Inappropriately.
And you're a senior citizen if you are aware that other people's grandchildren are not as bright as your own.
No, right? Because your own grandchildren are the cutest.
Isn't that something?
And the brightest.
And so, it's funny about those types of things is when we think about quotes and phrases and things when it comes to mind, these are just fun things, aren't they?
So there's another funny one here. It's I'm wrinkled, saggy, and lumpy. Oh, and that's just my left leg. Right?
Right. Oh, my gosh.
So here's the 4 stages of life. You ready?
Yes.
Let's see if you can identify.
The 4 stages. This sounds deep. Is it deep? I hope it's not. Right?
I don't think so, but you ready for this?
Yes. What are the 4 stages?
You believe in Santa Claus.
Yes, that happens. All of us.
You don't believe in Santa Claus. A sad day.
If you don't believe, then Santa Claus is gone. You know that. That's the whole.
I believe to this day. Okay. You are Santa Claus.
I think we played that role before.
And you
Yes.
look like Santa Claus.
And there are a lot of people that look like Santa Claus.
So Santa Claus grows with us in these 4 stages through
Those
life.
are the 4 stages. You know, you hear the stages of death and dying. These are really the reality stages.
These are the reality stages.
And then probably the 5th one is you think you are Santa Claus.
Right.
That probably should be added to that list. Oh, my gosh. So when it comes to different times have changed, but they really haven't. And, you know, we grew up back in the hippie days, I guess,
Yes.
or early 70s or things. And, you know, what comes out is, you know, back then you wanted to grow your hair long. I had long hair. Everybody had. Now as you get older, you're just longing for hair. When I go and get a haircut, the first thing I say to the beautician is, I'm thankful I even got hair to be sitting in here.
Do you ever notice with your friends or people our own age, and they always talk about what they used to look like? Oh, I used to wear my hair.
You don't anymore.
But you're not now. Or what about back in the day it was a keg.
Like a keg of beer.
A keg of beer, and now it's EKG.
Okay, it's the same letters, just shuffled around a little different.
It's a whole different necessity in life.
Yes, looking at that, there's also acid rock. Now, I wasn't that into acid rock, but a lot of people, including myself, end up with acid reflux as we
Two
get
different
older.
meanings in life.
Oh, my gosh.
Or what about back in the day, you're hoping for a BMW.
Yeah, those cars.
And today you just hope for a BM.
Now we're going off the rails here a little bit. And I've got a couple of friends and relatives that can relate to this one. And that's when we were teenagers going to a new hip joint, right? But now they're actually getting a new hip joint. Isn't that crazy?
I love that. Or, okay, one more here. One more, or we could go on forever. Remember the Rolling Stones?
Yes. Oh, I still listen to them.
Yeah, you know what you have now? Kidney stones.
Kidney stones. Oh, there's probably other kinds of stones, too.
Oh, my gosh. These are hilarious.
Good. Well, we'll keep it going here.
Yeah, let's
Hopefully
go.
our audience hasn't turned us off yet, so wait to hear the good ones are still coming here. So top signs, you're too old to trick or treat.
Okay, before you go into those, do you still go out and trick or treat?
Well, you know, it's funny.
It's kind of creepy
I have a son who probably, he'll cringe when he hears this at some point.
Oh, no.
But he would wear like a pumpkin, a real pumpkin. He'd cut out the
Yeah,
pumpkin
I've
head
seen this.
and he'd
Yeah.
put it on his head. And then he'd wear like, long sleeve underwear,
Yeah.
whatever it is, with gloves. So he didn't know how old this guy was. Well, he was like 20 years old.
Okay,
right?
this is really creepy.
We'd go to my sister's neighborhood. She was
Okay,
it's
all
a
right.
little
So
neighborhood.
it's-
Everybody
it's
knows. She knows every neighbor and those kind of
Not
things.
going to
right?
a stranger's house.
Right, and they'd all say, she'd say, "Oh, this is my nephew," and blah, blah. He's a really tall, like, 10-year-old. You know what I mean?
Aw. So the fall and trick or treat to this day is still one of my favorites.
It is?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Great. So here's the top signs. You're probably too old to trick or treat.
Okay.
The first one is you get winded knocking on somebody's door. Get out of breath.
What about getting winded just walking up
Up the steps to get to their door.
And what if they have like more than 5 steps?
It's nice when they put candy outside, yes.
Oh, what about you have to have another kid chew the candy for you?
So you pick them out and hand them over to.
Could you?
Here's the ones I
Because
break
your
my teeth.
you don't even have your own teeth anymore.
Yeah, or they break off, right?
Right.
Next one is you'd ask for high fiber candy. Do you have any options besides the sweet
Yes.
stuff?
Do you have something without sugar?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what about when someone drops a candy bar in your bag and you lose your balance?
See, these are stereotypes. They're probably mean, but when you stop
No,
and
Gary, we're laughing at our own selves.
okay,
Our
we
audience
can
is
relate.
probably
We can relate to those
Right.
types of things. All right, when you open the door and you yell trick and you can't remember what's the other word that you're supposed to say.
Yeah,
Trick or
exactly. Or by the end of the night, you have a bag full of restraining orders.
Then you definitely know you're too old to trick or treat.
People think you're just creepers.
Oh my gosh. And then you have to be careful when you choose a costume that won't dislodge your hairpiece.
Or it could be part of the costume. See what's cool, maybe, is you could go dress like an old person.
Right. And
Right?
people do that. They do dress up like that. And then you're the only Power Ranger in the neighborhood with a walker.
But it could be your weapon, right?
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
Or you keep having to go home. And you know why?
No, why do you have to go home so often?
Because you have to use the bathroom.
Oh,
Oh, my gosh.
These are, hopefully our listeners will enjoy these things. All right. So there are some signs that you are no longer a kid.
All right.
They come to mind also.
Okay, there's many.
All right. And with this one, I can relate to this one. I've had people bring this up to me. You're asleep, but others worry that you're actually dead.
Oh, no. I used to feel that way about my grandma. Oh, I used to walk in my grandma's room and her mouth open.
I had a grandmother like that, too.
Eyes half open.
I actually broke into her house to try to make sure. I was the one that, thank goodness, I found her. Well, when I went over to her, touched her, she like woke up.
Yes, and all of a sudden they take that deep gasping breath and look up and go, "What's wrong?"
We thought you were dead. That's got to be something not to look forward to.
Oh, my gosh.
So any other signs when you're no longer a kid, do you think, Pam?
Your back goes out more than you do. No, I can't go out tonight. My back already is.
Oh, gosh. Some of these are great stereotypes. Like you buy a compass for the dashboard of your car, right?
Right.
Isn't there some of these things that say, oh my gosh.
And what about when you're really proud of your own lawnmower?
Oh yeah. I've had a neighbor that he mows his grass almost every day. I think that must be his retirement career.
Right. Yeah. And boy, you take a lot of pride in that.
Right.
People call at 9 p.m. and ask, "Did I wake you up?"
Sometimes they do.
Although I got to be honest with you, sometimes I call my daughter at 9, and she has a long day. She has 2 little kids, and she'll say, "Mom, I was just laying down," and I'm the one saying, "Really?"
Oh gosh. Well, you're no longer a kid when you're starting to sing along to those elevator music, right? Isn't that something?
No, because there comes a time when you had no idea what those songs were.
And now you know them all.
And now you know them by heart.
Isn't it? I think there's some truth to that. I'm convinced that I know more music now in my head than when I was growing up. I think it's part of, what is it, Alzheimer's or memory type of thing. I remember lots of songs and it stays with you. Is there any other sign when you're no longer a kid that jumps out?
Yeah. You can't remember the last time you laid on the floor to watch television because you can't get up. or maybe it was the time you fell and you couldn't get up. And so you had to watch TV.
Isn't that something?
Oh, what about this one, Gary? Your ears are hairier than your head. When does it happen that men go to the barber shop and start having them clip that hair in your ears?
Well, later than they expect or something like that. I always wonder why they don't do like transplants. Can't they transplant hair like that to some other part of your body? It would seem like that would be a natural type of thing.
Oh, my gosh.
Gosh, and when you stop and think about it, you got cable just for the Weather Channel. Those types of things.
Yes, exactly.
How important the Weather Channel is. I was talking to somebody just yesterday, and I said, with the new phones, you have directions right in there. You can find anywhere, right?
Yes.
And I said, just think how discouraging that was to how many older people that used to spend. That was like where are you going now?
Yes.
And they would spend 10 minutes telling you 19 right turns, 14 left turns. Yes. I never could follow any of these directions.
Never.
And just, it was a time you could run in gas stations. You just depended on the gas station to know people.
To run in and ask for directions.
Yeah, you get close to a town and say, I'm just going to go in the gas station. And ask
for sure. It was a thing.
Heard of the street. Those types of things.
So what about when you have a party and your neighbors didn't even realize you had one?
Wow. And then, you're looking at people when they talk so you can read their lips.
That is 100% true.
And in the last year or so with this pandemic, I think there's been a lot of challenges. I'm used to looking at people's lips. Even I've got pretty good hearing, but just the whole idea that that's part of like how you communicate and how you see those nonverbals and verbal indicators there.
Oh,
this brings us to the Senility Prayer.
Oh.
Right?
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. And I think we've all heard this many, many times. God grant me the senility to forget, not serenity, senility.
Senility. Yep.
The people I never liked anyway.
So forget them.
Forget them. The good fortune to run into the ones that I do. and the eyesight to tell the difference.
Between those two.
So,
oh my gosh.
So is this where we're saying, just help me forget those people I never liked in life?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to pretend they didn't exist.
And I'm saying this on my own self. I've been in situations the last couple of years where I go, I'll probably forget this whole conversation. And I kind of like apologize. I say, I'll probably forget what I just said.
So you know what I find myself doing when I meet someone new now, which was something I never would have done 20 years ago?
What's that?
Is I say, I'm sorry, but I'm not good with names, and I'll probably forget your name or call you 5 other names that aren't yours. You have to give disclaimers up front.
Isn't that? I've always found remembering people's names hardest. When I meet somebody, I'm always thinking about my own name. I don't know why I concentrate on my own name.
Do you ever call someone, Gary, this is Gary? Oh.
I guess instead of listening to their name, I'm more focused on saying the name Gary properly out of my mouth.
And so everyone's a Gary to you.
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
Oh, it can be tough there. It's funny though, is there's lots of songs that we've heard when we were growing up and have been around forever that, if you really think about it, they could take on a whole different phrasing, couldn't they?
They really can.
And so let's kind of go through a couple of songs here that maybe kind of we can all relate to.
And so these quotes or these songs are not the real names.
But you'll know what the real name.
You'll know who they are.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So one that comes to mind is Herman Hermits. Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely walker.
Versus you have a lovely daughter. That's hilarious. Oh, the Temptations. You ready? Remember, Papa's got a Rolling Stone. You know what it is now?
No, what is now?
Papa's got a kidney stone.
Papa's got a kidney stone.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Ringo Starr, I get by with a little help from my depends. Right? So.
Versus I get a little help from my friends.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Marvin Gaye. You ready?
Yes.
I heard it through the grape nuts. The cereal.
That's probably what people are probably thinking. Oh, Poco Harum was a whiter shade of hair. Right? It was great.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, Johnny Nash. You know the song I Can See Clearly Now? You know what it is now?
What is it now?
I can't see clearly now.
I can't see it clearly now. See, people should rewrite these songs, shouldn't they?
No, we
They'd
can so relate to these titles.
Parody songs. And then, Leo Sayer, You Make Me Feel Like Napping.
Right? Versus laughing. Is it laughing? You make me feel like napping. Oh, it doesn't take much. Just looking at you could make me feel like taking a nap.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, what about ABBA?
Remember ABBA, yeah.
The Dancing Queen?
Yeah.
You know what it is now?
No.
Denture Queen.
Denture Queen. My denture queen. I can hear that song in my head, can't you?
Now you'll be saying denture queen every time you hear it.
And then Paul Simon, 50 Ways to Lose Your Liver. Right?
Not 50 Ways to Lose Your Lover. Right. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Roberta Flack was such a great song the first time ever I saw your face. You know what it is now, Gary?
No, what is it?
The first time I ever forgot your face.
That's...
Now and forevermore.
I'll
never remember it.
I can relate to so many of these. The Commodores, once, twice, 3 times to the bathroom.
Not 3 times a lady.
I'm telling you. I'm one of those now. You kind of like plan trips, though, don't you?
No. So do you remember the day when you fell asleep at night, you didn't wake up until the sun was up?
Yeah, those were old days. Yeah.
How many times do you get up at night to go to the bathroom?
See, I'm convinced there's like a universal 3 a.m. something happens. I've talked to lots of people. I don't know if people do you ever wake up exactly? I wake up at exactly 3 a.m. and then look around. I think that's when ghosts and stuff come out. And stuff.
Oh, I have a big story about when I was in college and 3 a.m., but that's on a whole other subject.
Save that for a future.
Yes.
All right. The Rolling Stones. You can't always pee when you want to, right?
No, you can't. But so now I absolutely can appreciate my mom back in the day when she would, no matter where she went, she would have to use the bathroom first, use it before we left, and then would not have a drink in the car.
Yeah. I said you had to plan ahead. I plan ahead these things.
Right. You can't drink past 7 o'clock at night.
All right, let's see. Bobby Darin, splish splash, I was having a flash, right?
No. How many flashes? So when I'm around women my own age, do you know we say without hesitation, oh, I'm having such a flash, and everyone can relate.
Now, Carly Simon, she had so many great songs there. So you're so varicose vein, right? Isn't that great?
No, it's hilarious.
I love that song for some reason. I think isn't that about Warren Beatty or somebody? I'm always thinking who that song was about. You're so vain.
Yes.
It had to be about somebody famous like that. And
what about The Who?
The Who? Yes.
Yeah.
What did they have?
Talking about my medication.
Not my generation. Oh my gosh. So there's so many quotes and so many thoughts, and there's some good ones in our list here too. And I'll just kind of glance back as to, it's just interesting how people, famous people over the years have kind of summarized these things. And some famous one that was like this was from Emily Dickinson, and she said, "We turn not older with years, but newer with every day." See, these are like beautiful things.
That's
though, aren't
a beautiful thing.
When you stop and think about the attitude that people have, when it comes to aging and those types of things.
So there's a famous poem, and I wish I could remember all of it, but I remember a line, and it says, "When I am old, I will wear purple." And then it goes on to all the things I will do that I want to do. Not because it's trendy, not because it's popular, but because it's something I want to do. And I have to admit and agree to the fact that the older you get, you start to care more about you and what you would like to do.
Yeah.
Even if it's against trend, you do it. Do you agree?
I think so too. And that kind of leads us into like regrets. And it's so funny. I think, people regret things, don't they?
They do.
But somebody said, and I don't have who said this. It says, if you don't do a lot of stupid things when you're young, you won't have a lot of funny things to talk about when you're older.
Isn't that true? Because look at us.
Yeah.
We spend 95% of our time, Gary, talking about all the stupid things we've done.
Yeah. And we haven't even begun to get into some of those things, right?
Right.
And so it's so great to kind of see that, but how important it is to have that. When it comes to the restrictor, right? Do you know what the restrictor is?
Tell me.
I think as people get older, they just they don't think about what they say; they just say it, right? Have you met people that just blurt it straight out like that? And I think part of that is just getting comfortable with your own self. Like when you get to a certain age, you find that other people's opinions don't really matter anymore, and you kind of get uncomfortable. Because somehow, it's your life. It's your time, right?
Yeah.
And you've been proper your whole life. You can kind of get away with saying some things. You can get away with stuff, right?
You can get away with it. Yeah. But the best thing to know is that you're still lucid. You still have a mind when you do that. And sometimes you're blown off by others when someone says, well, you wouldn't say that if you weren't, as old as you are.
Right. And you stop and think about wisdom, and Ingrid Bergman kind of comes to mind, and she had a quote, "Getting old is like climbing a mountain. You get a little out of breath, but the view is much better." See, what a great point of view on life.
No, that is. And I have another great one. When you get to be 50, you will know that the bulk of your regrets are from not having done what you wished to do.
Isn't that the truth?
I totally agree with that.
And so for our younger listeners, get a little crazy. Do some things that are kind of risk-taking.
If you have a desire and you think, oh, I'll do that later, don't. Do it now and gain that knowledge and gain that experience, because as you grow older, you never stop wanting experiences.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? And so, as we kind of grow older, Pablo Picasso, remember him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
We don't grow older, we grow riper. Think about that. It's certain things like wine, aren't certain things better as they get older too?
Well, they are, but we say that to justify our old age, Gary. I don't know if it's true.
And Frank Lloyd Wright had a quote, "The longer I live, the more beautiful life becomes." See, and what a great architect he was and builder and so many things, and to really stop it. I find myself getting older. I sometimes stop and just kind of take it in. Have you run into those moments?
I think we talked about this on another podcast. I find myself being more present.
Yeah.
With beauty, with nature, with things around me than I used to when I was younger. I was much more hurried through life, and now I can actually take a moment. You know that old quote about take time to smell the roses that forever you just thought was corny?
Right.
It truly makes sense to me today.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And I know there's some funny things. Skin always comes up, right?
Okay, sagging skin,
doesn't
old
everybody?
Skin.
Phyllis Diller, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know you're old when someone compliments you on your alligator shoes and you're barefoot, right?
Right?
I think some of us can relate.
No, it's so true.
Relate to that. And the other one was, and this is great from Jimmy Buffett, wrinkles will only go where the smiles have been.
Well,
right?
if only that were true.
No, I think that's a cute phrase there, isn't it?
So here's a cute one. It's important to have a twinkle in your wrinkle. And honestly, I don't know that I agree. I would like to not draw attention to it.
Oh, gosh. And people kind of, are always fearful of death. All of us kind of fear the end there.
Yes.
But somebody had put in a quote here, life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that like relatable to everybody here?
Yes. Oh, what about this one? It's not that I'm afraid to die. I just don't want to be there when it happens. That's a quote by Woody Allen.
And then this was a good one, too. Billy Graham has described heaven as a family reunion that never ends. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
But what must be hell possibly be like? Well, it's probably home videos of the same reunion.
Over and over
again.
You're here. You have to watch these now for eternity.
Gosh.
Oh, my gosh. So here's one. Men do not quit playing because they grow old. They grow old because they quit playing.
Yeah, and that is so true.
I agree.
And I have friends that we go on hikes because of that exact phrase. And aging is when you hear snap, crackle, pop before you even get out of bed. Right?
No, it happens. It's a true thing.
Oh, my God.
Here's one. If I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself.
That's probably a good way to wrap this up.
No, it really is.
And when you think about quotes, hopefully you got some laughter out of this. We did. We enjoyed talking and sharing these ideas.
We could go on for hours with these.
And really stop and smell the flowers, right? Sometime.
Absolutely. Be present. Enjoy every single day. It's hard to do, but there will come a day when you wish you did. So, well, Gary, that's it. I've enjoyed our time together today, and I laughed until I cried today. Just want to, again, thank all of our listeners. Please share. Please subscribe. Please rate us if you like us. Even if you don't like us, let us know what we can do better. Gary and I are having a blast. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.